Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. And in this episode, we're going to give you our review for Silo Episode 6. Just came out, so go watch it, then watch this video. Yeah, we have plenty of thoughts to say about it. It was a pretty chill episode, but nonetheless, pretty revealing. We're getting closer and closer to solving the mystery, finally. Dylan, why don't we start with your thoughts?
Yeah, you know what I love about this show? It's so minimal, but it makes you pay attention to the details and the interactions between characters. And in this episode, it's been based around this holiday. It's called Forgiveness Day. And I love that the silo has like all these kind of weird like holidays and traditions, because it's like they don't really have much to celebrate because they live in this big, silo thing. And Juliette, so in this episode, she kind of tries to figure out, how her boyfriend George was murdered, and she's having like flashbacks, and her flashbacks are kind of like her having like fond memories of her boyfriend George, but then like her perception kind of like changes as we get deeper into this episode, and we find out George wasn't like who he really was. And it's also centered around like these relics too, and how the relics are kind of like a window to the past in a way. And it's just really interesting to see like how they kind of view relics, right? They're like almost like books, like in Nazi Germany. They're like these things that are like illegal, and they try to like collect them and categorize them, and try to make these people like very like uneducated in a way. But let's get your thoughts on this episode too.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting point you brought up about Juliette. I want to see now, since her perception changes later on, I do want to see some callbacks in her memory where like she thinks, oh yeah, that was weird, and oh wait, he said this particular thing, so now this could lead me somewhere, because basically George is useless, like, and it's just like lovey-dovey, but there's not really anything huge there. So I hope that he did reveal something to her that maybe she like brushed away, but now she has to recall again. So we also see, this is jumping ahead, but we also see that everyone's being recorded too. So it kind of goes to that thing where it's like, what is it, totalitarianism or something like that, brother, where it's like, yeah, that too. So I'm thinking, well, is she ever going to see like footage maybe of George? Like that could come up later on where it's like, oh, this guy, which I'm pretty sure at this point is Robert that pushed George. I don't know, but they could like do a big twist. Maybe it's someone else. It's like, what? So yeah, one thing I must say, I'm getting kind of tired of the mystery now. Like I want something more substantial, because every episode is like, it's world building, and granted, like that makes sense, but I don't know. I want to see something more juicy, because I compare the show a lot to the series called From that's on Epix. If you guys can, check that out, because it's a great show. And in that show, there's a lot of mystery, but a lot of stuff was revealed, and it felt satisfying by episode 6, I believe. So we're in episode 6 here, but we still have a lot of questions. And I don't want it to be a thing where the season finale is far like too fast paced and you couldn't get all the details right away. So like that's super annoying. Like I want to feel satisfied. So that's what I'm worried about so far, because there's a lot of monotonous tasks where like you pick up a Coke can and you're like, oh wow, yeah, this is from back then. And it's like, then they do a flashback, and then all of a sudden some person talks, and then they're like, yeah, I got problems. Yeah, everybody got problems. And then it just ends. And then the real mystery, the next thing we have to look forward to, was revealed at the end of the episode. Right. And then it's like they don't even touch on that. They push it towards the end. I don't really like that. That's starting to become really annoying. So that's my main criticism so far.
No, I get that totally, and especially because it's like an hour-long episode, so you have plenty of time to kind of like move the story along quickly. And I can see that point for sure. But I think in a way it kind of, I don't know, there's just something about the relationship with the characters, and yeah, there is a mystery, and also I think this is based around a book series, so I don't know like how lengthy the books are as well. So maybe, or correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think someone told me it was based around a book. But I mean, the mystery is kind of interesting to me, and just seeing like the world building too. But yeah, I think it could be moved a little bit, faster, and we could like get some.
It is. It's based on the Wool series of novels by Arthur Hugh Howey. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm not sure like how, because I've never read the books before. But if you guys know anything about it, let us know. But it seems really interesting as far as like dystopian. It's something I've never really seen on television before, because it's like it's such a limited space, right? It's like, how do you push that narrative in such a limited space, right?
Sure.
And I think what this episode in particular, I really enjoyed just seeing, how the relics are kind of like metaphors in a way. I like the watch because I like that conversation between Juliette and Walker, and how she was about to resign as the sheriff, and she was like, well, this isn't worth my time because the guy that I thought I loved is apparently like a guy that's been like sleeping around with other women, and I guess he never really loved me or whatever. And then Walker's like, well, I mean, you don't really have a concept of time. It's like time for you. It's like I think what the bigger picture was, it's more of a waste of time to give up than to pursue something. And also I like the idea of like the watch when she got it was broken, so it was still, but it started ticking again. She fixed it because she was in love, right? So I just kind of like that idea. It's like George was like her motivation to do things, right? And even now, like now that we've got that reveal that, he was like kind of like a dickhead or whatever, but I mean, she still, wants to find truth in a way, whether it's for George or not, or maybe it's now if it's for herself, right?
Although there's one thing that I had a problem with what you said was like, how do you deal with all these things like in a limited space? The problem is it's not a limited space. It's like absolutely mile high huge. And it's like, I wish now I seen a little bit more variation. I mean, I get the tone and stuff like that, but I do want to see more varied stuff. I'd rather they keep visiting the same places. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we saw a little bit of vegetation and stuff. Let's go somewhere else. What about water? How do you guys get water? Is there like a
this shit is like what 150 floors or some shit?
Yeah, and it's a whole trip. I think that's pretty epic, but like, okay, showcase other stuff because we need to know if you guys really want to go into the world building. Well, we need to start. I feel like they have a problem balancing now the mystery and the actual world building, because sometimes the world building gets in a way and it's not very like fun. The world building, it's kind of boring at this point, and so each episode feels very samey. So it's like, what can be a good thing is consistent, but at the same time too, like the consistency is kind of like dry. So I do want to see some spice. I don't want to see like some running up and down the steps type of spice like from the last episode, whatever. So I really feel like now it's starting to get a little too slow and it needs to pick up the pace, and we need to get into that big brother aspect and figure out, really what's Robert into? What is he involved in? And what's the point? Because I feel like now Juliette's going in circles, or she's chipping at it, but still, it's not like, one thing that was cool though, which I always find it to be really poignant, is when they show pieces of the outside world via recording or books. And so we do see that George gave his ex a book that belonged to his mother, I believe, or something like that. And then that lady gave it to Juliette, and she saw like canoes, people in the park, the forest. That was really beautiful. The seashell or something, that's what George, he has like a tattoo of that. So that's really nice to see, but I don't know what she'll do with that. Because they keep seeing these things. But there has to be a revolution at some point, because if you're seeing all these things, what's the point of withholding the information? So what's the true mystery? Is it like uncovering who actually killed George, or is it like the bigger picture, like what's outside now? I hope we get to the actual, points. Right. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, for sure. And now I'm kind of like confused as to whether the judicial branch and Sims is like, are they even the real villain now? Because it seems like, they have a lot of resources, and they even said like they know which relics belong to who. But now it seems like maybe they're either like a puppet of like this bigger organization that we kind of saw at the last scene. And Regina said there was like this guy that went into her apartment, the man who knows everything, right?
Right.
So now I'm thinking like, maybe like Sims is just as like vulnerable as anybody else in this organization. Maybe he's like just fighting to survive, or like as like a position of power. Because I'm not even sure like whose side he's on now. He's like, is he for like the judicial? Is he for he made like a lot of weird choices in this episode. There was that conversation that the mayor and Sims and Juliette had. And it looked like, I think the mayor was like trying to help Juliette out, or something, but I wasn't really sure. It's like really weird, like what the formation of like alliances are in this episode.
I think he's just really good at his job. I think he has to talk a little bit of shit to seem like natural. I really think that he's nor bad nor good. I think he's just the order that needs to be, everything needs to be in order. As you see, like everything is really controlled and restricted. So that's just it at the end of the day. I don't think that he's like a super villain of any sort. I just think that people who he's with in that organization are just the same like him. And I do think that there's like secret operatives out there. So but guys, yeah, so if you stuck with us since the beginning, I definitely want to let you know I'm gonna study up on the books. So by next episode, I might drop some heavy spoilers to give you guys some answers, because I feel like I'm not getting them too much in this show. So I'd rather for everybody to be on the same page, and like probably if you hear some things, you'll look forward to like, oh shit. Because I'm looking now, it is the wool series, and there's like 4 of them. It's like wool, dust, shift, sand. So I don't know, it has something to do with elements, or maybe I just sound completely stupid saying that, but maybe it is. I had a theory a long time ago that it's about genetics or something like that, because it's really weird. Like, why do you want these people so bad to stay inside there if outside's okay? What would be wild is if like outside there is no apocalypse, it's just like outside it's just regular like society. That will also be crazy or stunning, but will also be stunning is like, again, like what if these people are sick or just different and you can't really expose them to the outside. It's kind of like 10 Cloverfield Lane, where it's like, holy shit, this is the twist. That's what I'm hoping for, because I feel like the way how they're building it up, episode 10 is going to be completely left field, like completely surprising. Because right now it is kind of boring. Like it's mystery, cool, but boring 3 times as well. So I don't know what so what else thoughts do you have on the episode? Because this episode, to be honest with you, was like okay. It wasn't like,
yeah, I mean, I still enjoy like seeing her story, but now that hearing your points, I can agree. Like it was like here for me like around episode 2 and 3, and now it's like it's like, is it really holding my interest? Because I feel like they should be uncovering a lot more than they are, because it went from like going into this thing about is the silo like wasn't like the first episode like Holston was asking questions about the silo and like the outside. Like now I'm like, how did it go from that to like oh, who killed this guy and who killed this guy, right? So I feel like they should move the pace a little bit faster, like you said. But I still kind of enjoy the moments like between the characters, and I like seeing like Juliette's like past and stuff, because I do like enjoy her as a character, and I think Rebecca Ferguson is great. But yeah, I can see that for sure, and I'm curious to see like what's on the hard drive, because they kind of mentioned it, but like Regina didn't know what was on it, or maybe she did and she just wasn't telling. So maybe I'm thinking like, is that like how the silo began, and like what is this big rebellion that they keep talking about? Because they mention it like 5 times a minute in every episode, but we never really see it. So I'm wondering like how this like that's the thing, like they keep name dropping stuff, but it's like we don't get like any real exposition on it. And that may work like, excuse me, in the beginning of the series, but then it's like, okay, well, that's only going to keep you on for so long until you start asking questions yourself, and it's like, okay, well, what is this leading up to, like you said? So yeah, well, I guess the ending scene we should talk about. It was like this giant control room, and Juliette, she's reading the book that Regina gave to her, and it's like this, like you said, this picture book of like the world before the silo, and we see she's like caught on camera, and looks like everybody's like on camera. So at first I was thinking like this room looks a little too high tech for the silo, so I'm wondering if like, is this silo like even in a dystopian universe, or is it just in our world, and maybe this is like a social experiment or something? Maybe it does have to do like with genetics, like you said. Yeah, I want to get your predictions.
I really, now I'm like looking through like Amazon stuff. I don't know if this is a comic or is this like just a novel. See, it looks like a comic. I think it's more idealistic than that. I actually think it's people who started it and they were scared after 9/11 or something like that. Or maybe, again, I don't know. I'm just going off of what I'm reading. and it's just like doomsday preppers. Again, watch next episode. I'm gonna be like completely off like when I studied up on it, but yeah, as my predictions for like next episode, I think it's gonna be a lot of the same shit, different smell. I don't think we're gonna get anywhere really. I think we're gonna see more about that deputy that she's with, like what's his condition, like how I think his name is Chinaza, or no, yeah, Chinaza, right? Uchi, no.
I have no idea.
I think that's his name. I don't know.
I'm a blank with
that's
that.
What it says here. I think we're gonna see more of his condition, and I also think, of course, they showed the cameras at the end, so those people probably have recordings of like way back when, and they're gatekeeping the information. So hopefully we could see something along the lines of the people trying to, like, maybe we'll see a new character try to interrogate. Oh, I'm sorry, Paul. Never mind. I said Chinaza. That's the actor's Paul Billings. Yeah. So maybe we're going to see the guys trying to interrogate Juliette and like how she got that book. And I think now, because she's in the thick of things, now it's going to force her to actually like look for the answers faster. That's what I'm hoping for. And because she has no choice, because they see her, like what she's up to. And for all we know, probably George, it's kind of like the Assassin's Creed and the Templars. Like maybe Common's character, Robert Sims, is like the Templars, and George is like the Assassin's Creed people. Like maybe it's like that. It's like an inside
Shadow
type
War.
of yeah, but no one really knows about it. But it's like a Shadow War or a Cold War, but it's about knowledge, right? And it's like super secret. It's not like action packed. Maybe it's just really, hiding this, hiding that. Because even there's relics too. So it's just like Assassin's Creed a little bit. So I don't know. You guys let us know what you think of Silo so far. If you have the same criticisms like us, let us know. And also let us know your predictions of what might happen. And if you have any insight on the books, try to like drop something, but not like,
guys.
Yeah, but not like super spoiler filled too for the other people who just saw this right away. But yeah, so out of 1 to 10, what would you give this episode?
Probably I'd give it 7, because I did kind of enjoy it, but now like hearing your points, I'm like, yeah, I didn't really go anywhere. The only thing we got really was towards the end with the big, control room. So probably 7 out of 10 for me. How about you?
I'd probably give it like a 6 or 5 out of 10, to be honest. Now I'm getting tired.
I hope it doesn't end up like Hello Tomorrow, because that was
me too. Yeah,
that was stressful to review, guys.
Yeah, and especially like it's not. Hello Tomorrow became really like metaphorical and idealistic, and I know that the books were like that, so I got a feeling that this is what they're trying to shoot for. I got the message in the first couple of episodes, but now it's like, okay, let's get to the physical, the actual mystery. Let's start unraveling some shit, not just give us teases through the way, So, but anyways, that is our review for Silo episode 6, now streaming on Apple TV Plus. If you guys like this video, I keep saying that, guys, like this video. We love you if you do it. We appreciate you if you watch the video. Also, check out our other reviews. We have a Flash review. Woo. We got an early screening for that, so we're gonna drop that really soon. And yeah, just check out our other playlists. This month is going to be huge. Our new review series from HBO Max will be the new Lily Rose Depp series. So if you guys know what I'm talking about, be excited for that. I got a feeling that's going to be ass, but I digress. Anyways, everybody, let's hear Dylan's thingy-majiggy.
Yeah, well, also we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse coming up, so we'll be doing a review for that. But yeah, guys, check us out wherever you listen to your podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify, and of course YouTube. Check out our Instagram where you can check out clips of our videos. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and until then, thanks for having lunch with us.
See you guys.